Firstly, let me say that I am cooperating fully and constructively with the inquiry. I am committed to full transparency. I have just submitted my third written statement to the UK inquiry. That runs to some 200 pages. I've been asked some further questions by the inquiry, which I'm in the process of answering right now. As the Deputy First Minister has just said in the Chamber, the requests and the responses at this stage are confidential until the inquiry decides otherwise. So I cannot and will not go into the detail of those responses right now. That would be to breach the reputation.
Have you deleted WhatsApp messages?
Any messages I had, I handled and dealt with in line with the policies set out by the Deputy First Minister.
Does that mean you deleted some?
Look, can you let me finish? I will be setting out, I have already set out and will continue to set out to the inquiry how I operated, how I worked during the COVID pandemic, what I hold, what I don't hold and the reasons for that. I think the other thing I'd want to say right now, perhaps the only other thing I can say given my obligations, which I take very seriously to the inquiry, is that I understand that given the volume and the content of some of the messages from the UK Government, there's an assumption that we all worked like that. I did not manage the COVID response by WhatsApp. For example, I was not a member of any WhatsApp groups. I managed the COVID response from my office in St Andrew's House from early morning till late at night, face-to-face meetings with those that were there, Zoom calls, team calls, and of course I stood up every day and I set out to the public the basis of our decisions and why we were taking certain decisions. I will set out in full to the inquiry how I operated, what I hold, what I don't hold and the reasons for that, but I am satisfied I handled information in line with the policies that you've heard.
This leaves you open to the charge of cover-up, doesn't it?
Look, I gave my all to the management of the pandemic. Transparency for the families affected, by everybody affected by the pandemic, matters really a lot to me. I did my best every day, as you heard me say many times over the course of the pandemic. I did not get everything right, but I did my best, and I want the process of these inquiries to get to the heart of what happened, the things that governments got right, the things that governments and leaders like me didn't get right. You've heard already the volume of documents that the Scottish Government has provided, and I would expect to be giving evidence again to the UK inquiry early in the new year, although that's for the inquiry to confirm, and I will answer all questions that are put to me. Transparency matters to me in this.
The current First Minister has told us categorically on the record he has kept his WhatsApp messages. You are refusing to say yes or no. Why do you behave to a different moral or ethical standard to your successor?
I don't behave to. I behave to the standards that I've always set myself.
Well, why didn't you tell us yes or no?
Because I am currently in the process of providing information to an inquiry. The request that the inquiry is making right now and the responses being provided until the inquiry decides otherwise are confidential. I'd be breaching my obligation to the inquiry.
So it's under use of breach his duties?
I am not.
But to be fair, we're not asking you what's in them. We're just asking you if they exist. Do you have any WhatsApp messages and will you submit them?
I will be very clear to the inquiry what I hold, what I don't hold and why that is the case. But let me say again, I wasn't a member of any WhatsApp groups. I didn't manage the COVID response by WhatsApp. I managed the COVID response from my office in St Andrew's House, and decisions were taken formally by Cabinet. Decisions were not taken by me on WhatsApp. That is not the policy of the Scottish Government.
You promised to the public in Scotland an inquiry that would have access to all information, including WhatsApps, texts, private emails. You promised that publicly. Do you stand by that promise now?
The inquiry will have full transparency from me at every stage. It's had it so far, and I will set out clearly to the inquiry answers to all the questions. But I'm going to do that to the inquiry because that is how I respect them. I have nothing to hide. I am committed to full transparency to this inquiry and to the Scottish inquiry when it takes place. And I am committed to that in the interest of everybody across this country who was affected by COVID. I, as I said before, and I've said many times, every day for a very extended period of time, I, with my colleagues, did my best to keep people as safe as possible. And it's something that matters a lot to me, that those who have questions get answers to those questions.
You announced your intention to hold a Scottish public inquiry in May 2020. Shouldn't you get more messages after that date? And did you?